Active Victim is a program which has been developed to save American lives. We would design your facility in the case of an active shooter scenario.
The Active Victim program is made up from 3 concrete pillars. Number 1, build awareness. Number 2, create a response strategy. And number 3, train for the execution and assessment of that strategy. We need a plan, but we need to practice that plan as well. And that is what we're here to help you with. With our first pillar of build awareness in the Active Victim program, we are looking to show you presentations, videos, and lectures about different ways how the Active Victim program is going to help you and your facility. We are also looking to show you active shooter case studies so that you get a better understanding of how, where, and why these have taken place in the past. That way, we're creating more knowledge for you and your facility. The second pillar of the Active Victim program is the creation of a response strategy customized for your specific facility. This will include preparing the facility and the personnel for an active shooter event and how to train and react to such a tragedy. We will set up a response center and a safe room. We will also establish a coding system so that we can help try to save and keep everyone within your facility safe from a tragedy should it take place. The third pillar of the Active Victim program is the execution and assessment phase. We will train somebody within your facility in armed combat in response to an active shooter tragedy. We will also work with the team to provide first injury care for any victims that occur. Finally, we will do a debrief, discussion, and results of these trainings. Keeping in mind, we don't just come see you one time. We come, we train, and then we also include 3 training drills each year to make sure that the things that you are practicing are working. We don't just show videos, we actually want you to practice the program so that you're safe for the future.
I said, "What's going on?" And someone yelled, "He has a gun." So I kind of just stood up and joined the stampede out the fire escape and just kind of took off. Yeah, no one really knew what was taking place at the time. I know that for sure. No one knew if it was one shooter or multiple shooters, especially when gunshots started going off. Initially, when people were rushing past me, I hadn't heard anything. I just was curious as to what people were rushing past me about. I think I probably would have felt a little safer just because the awareness would have probably been more alert to what was going on around me. But at the end of the day, these kind of things I feel are unpredictable. You don't know when they're gonna happen. Like, it was well past midnight when it did. So with being safer, there always has to, I think, come your own self-awareness at the same time.
So the first thing when we come into your facility, we're going to teach the evacuation process, which is the most important part. If you can get out of the building, get out. That's the safest way out of an active shooter event. The next is the hand-to-hand combat. Let's say the assailant does not have a weapon, or the weapon falls and they grab you, chokehold, bear hug, headlocks. How do you get away from that? Armed combat training, where a couple people from your facility will be trained in armed combat to be able to take down the shooter if need be. Weapons disarm is the next part, being able to actively take the weapon out of the shooter's hand if he enters the room.
The Active Victim program has many different ideas. One of the things that we work hard on is awareness, and Chad and I are going to spend a little bit of time right now talking to you about how to be aware in certain situations. Can you talk a little bit, Chad, about situations where we need to be more aware? So if we go into a restaurant or a movie theater or a concert.
It's a good point. Things like walking into a restaurant. The minute that you walk in, you should immediately know how many exits there are. In case an event happened where I do have to get out, I know how many exits are in the building and where to go. Movie theaters, I always try to sit on the end of the seats as opposed to being in the middle in case we do have to funnel out and get out as fast as we can. So just little things like that on awareness, being able to walk into a building and understand my strategy of an exit point if need be.
And one of the things that's interesting that we talk about is a lot of people go into situations and something feels wrong. Understanding your surroundings. If you walk into a restaurant and it's 90 degrees and someone's wearing winter clothes that are bulky, you may want to pay attention to that. We live by this motto: if it feels wrong, get out. And something might not happen, but we would rather be safe than sorry. So again, if you walk into a situation that's uncomfortable, get out of that situation. You can always come back another day, whether you're dropping off a paper, having a meal, or seeing some type of entertainment. So one of the things the Active Victim Program brings you is a plan. So let's talk a little bit about what happens when we don't have a plan. What have we seen?
We've trained a lot of people, and the people that don't have a plan in a situation like this go into what's called shock mode. And that's when your body basically goes into a paralyzed state and you can't react. Whereas the people that get trained and have a plan, they go into what we call reaction mode. And whether that's evacuation or hiding or fighting back, they have a plan, and being able to practice that and train with that have helped them pursue that plan and put it to action. So what happens to these facilities that don't have this training?
Those that don't have this training: panic, chaos, a higher casualty and fatality rate, and another news story that we're going to read about that just loses its impact over time.
So now that we talked about the facilities that haven't participated in the program, what about the people that do partake in the system?
Well, what they're really getting is an organized approach, strategy, and a plan of action for survival if an active shooter tragedy takes place within your facility.
My name's Charlie Strickland. I'm one of the co-owners of the Talent Range and Talent Training Group. I spent 25 years in law enforcement with the Lynn County Sheriff's Office in Tallahassee, Florida. During that time, I was a violent crimes commander, lieutenant. I was a patrol watch commander. I was a SWAT team leader, was on the SWAT team for 17 years, a sniper entry team leader. It's very important that civilians get the type of training, whether it be at universities, whether it be at hospitals, whether it be at the mall, wherever. So if you want to protect yourself, if you want to protect the people in your community, the people that you love, you need to be absolutely adamant about getting the type of training, preparing yourself.
That kind of training is just consistent. Even for me, who's just working on planes, you have to be prepared. You have to know. If you don't have the training to do it, how can you be expected to succeed at anything?
There's differences of mindsets in this world, and there are sheep, there are wolves, and there are sheepdogs. And that protector, predator, prey, and protector. And you have to make that conscious decision. You have to flip the switch and decide that I'm going to be a protector of my community. And if you don't, then you're giving all of the control to the suspect, to the bad guy, to the perpetrator, to that predator.
Guns aren't the problem. There's no issue with a gun. A gun doesn't shoot somebody. It's when that person loses the value of a human life. When somebody isn't as important to you anymore, that doesn't matter. What about that person's life? What about that person's family, their friends, their colleagues? What are you destroying?
They train in mindset, they train in physical reaction, they train in how to shoot back and how to fight back. It's absolutely critical that our civilian population get that type of training as well.